Wait a minute. Like, this episode is everything. Wait a minute. We finna talk about it. Hold on. Back to my channel. It's your girl Evie. Welcome back to Because Evie Says So. I'm your host, Evie. Now, on this channel, we cover Law and Order Svu and Law and Order Organized Crime. So you know what we do? We get into it. How did it start? What happened? Who did it? Why? And how did it end? So let's get started, because this episode was so much. Now, it starts with a flashback of Olivia and her mom talking in the past. Then we cut to Noah and Olivia walking to school. She's walking him to school, and she's talking to him about her mom, how old she would be if she was still alive. Well, she would be about 77. So this in turn will bring on future flashbacks, which we're going to see later, right? So she drops her son off to school, then she gets to work, and she encounters Finn, talks to him, and she tells him she was giving him the short answers, basically, to all the questions that he was asking. And he says, well, we have someone that needs some help in the SVU. They have a particular case, but they only want to talk to you. So he takes her into the interrogation room, and who does she see? Nick Amaro. That's right. It's Nick Amaro. So she, hugs him and they embrace and everything. And she's so glad to see him. She's like, well, what can I do for you? So Amaro has an SVU case from 1996, which is a cold case that he needs help with. Like, this case has already been solved, but he thinks that Ian Ridley, the guy that was convicted of killing his girlfriend, he says he didn't do it. So he thinks that he can prove possibly that he didn't, because Nick now uses biophysics and he is getting his graduate degree in information in regards to new DNA technology. So Nick says that Ian is not the killer, and he intends to prove it with the help of crime writer Burton Lowe, which we see is no stranger to Olivia. Now, we go to a flashback to her talking to the ADA at the time about Burton, who she seems to have been engaged to or was truly in love with, and they were going to get married. Well, Burton got involved in this case due to his podcast. He has a true crime podcast, and he wants to find out exactly what happened to Haley, of course, so he can tell his, viewers, subscribers, etc. Now, Amaro and Amanda visit Melinda Warner. Yes, the medical examiner. And I just love her. I'm so glad to see her back for a while, I hope that she continues to stick her head in here and there. Now, she tells them about the case before. She tells them that they worked the case. They had her clothes, the blood, the DNA, they didn't get anything off of it, and it degraded over the years. Well, Nick, like I said, is working on his graduate degree in biophysics, and he's able to see the possibilities of Ian possibly being freed due to this new technology. Well, why? Serena, Olivia's mom, had her write a letter to Burton when she was about 15 years old, breaking up with him because he was older than her, and her mom obviously didn't want them to be together. And I kind of understand. So she even threatens to get Burton expelled from college if he doesn't leave Olivia alone. And I'm sure she had her reasons. Now they bring Ian to the track field to see what he can remember, what happened at the scene. He remembers, and it brings him to tears because he recalls everything before he was clocked in the head from behind. And then he said he woke up and there was so much blood. Now, somehow he confessed to the crime 25 years ago. I mean, he probably actually thought that he did it. Well, Olivia wanted to marry Burton back then, right? And she flashes back to being young and talking about Burton. And like I said, you guys, she obviously was in love. Well, what do they learn? They learn that a random man is not excluded, and that there's new DNA that they ran on the clothes. So there is someone else that could have possibly killed Haley. Now, there was male DNA on her body, and it wasn't Ian's, like I said. With the new tech, they found 3 possible suspects, one being Mr. Murray, who actually worked at the school. I'm not going to go there. Anyway, we see Cragen talk to the team via Zoom or FaceTime. He looks so good. Like, I miss him so much, Captain Cragen. He tells them about Mr. Roger Murray, the teacher that was actually working at the school at the time. And he said he had no reason to believe that Mr. Murray had anything to do with it. So they convicted Ian because he confessed, basically. So Amanda and Finn worked the case by going to Haley's mom's house, and her room is just the same. Like 25 years later, this lady has not changed a thing in her daughter's room. That is so sad. She misses her so much. Now, her mom says that Mr. Murray spent a lot of time with her, and she's convinced that Ian did it, and that Mr. Murray did not do it, because he sends her a card every year on the anniversary of her death, and he says he's thinking about Haley too. That's suspect to begin with. Now, Carisi and Amaro talked to Mr. Murray at his home about Haley and her death. Now, his wife actually walks up while they're having a conversation, and she tells her husband to cooperate fully with Amanda, Finn, Carisi, or whomever wants the information. Well, they talk to him down at the station in the interrogation room, and Mr. Murray says he remembers Ian being all over Haley, and he was trying to protect her. Why was he trying to protect her? First of all, this was prom night, and she looked beautiful, and they had prom, and they do what teenagers do. They sneak off and they kiss and hug and all of that stuff. Well, he said he was trying to protect her. Now, he says he doesn't remember anything else. And after Amanda starts asking him some really deep questions, all of a sudden he lawyers up. Suspect, like I said. Now, in the meantime, Burton invites Liv to take a walk with him. It's nighttime, and Liv walks around the city with him. It initially seems so romantic, walking in the park, holding hands, and they eventually kiss. And then Burton says, "Oh, I shouldn't have done that." And she says, "Well, I didn't mind." And so he kisses her again. So they kiss outside the hotel, and it seems like their feelings never really changed for each other, Flashback to Elliot and Olivia talking about attraction to older men. Then we see her cut to walking to his hotel, and we see her wake up in his bed. She slept with him in his hotel, so no Elliot? I mean, come on. Okay, what they playing at? Either she's gonna be with Elliot or not. Don't be sleeping with other people. Ooh, but anyway, this is messing with my head. Is it messing with y'all's head? Because it's messing with my head. My mind is poof, blown. Okay? So, Olivia got some, right? So her phone buzzes, and the semen sample that they had is a match to Roger Murray. So she's so happy about that. But she has to get home because Noah is with the babysitter. So her real life husband is in the 500 episode too. Peter Herman plays Trevor Langan, who is the lawyer for Ian now. So that's her real husband in real life, Peter Herman. So Carisi talks to Amaro because they want to start getting Ian out of jail, of prison. He considers Amaro an expert witness and not Burton. So Trevor warns Liv that Burton has a reputation with women in social circles, so to be careful, Warning. So Liv again talks to Captain Cragen, and he acknowledges her accomplishments and being a captain, and he's so proud of her, and it actually makes Liv kind of tear up. So who did it? Now in court, Mr. Murray is looking at Haley's mom while he's sitting there, right? Now he's struggling with something, obviously. Mr. Murray changes his plea all of a sudden. He admits he killed Haley. Well, I kind of knew that to begin with, but it's good that he confessed. He tells Joyce, her mom, because she thought, he couldn't have possibly done it, that he was so sorry. And then he breaks down so distraught and is crying and it's a mess. But anyway, this cleared Ian because he's been in prison for 25 years for something that he didn't even do. He was innocent, you guys. Well, while they're congratulating Burton and, Carisi on a job well done, due to their research, a woman walks up. Her name is Andrea Malone, right? Now, she says that she was raped by Burton 10 years ago and that he's a predator. How dare he put a rapist in jail and he himself is a rapist. Now, he immediately says he didn't rape her. He says he went to the hotel with Andrea, though, all those years ago, and then they had consensual sex, and then he paid for her cab ride home. That's it. No cap. So Olivia has to recuse herself from the case because she's totally been blindsided. Andrea tells them that she remembers lying back on her bed after she was tipsy. Oh my goodness. I'm so sorry. That is my alert for my diabetes. It's my Dexcom alert. I'm so sorry. So sorry. But anyway, so they say that, hold on, guys. Apologize. What the heck is going on? Hold on, you guys. Sorry about that. So Andrea says she remembers lying back on the bed after she was tipsy, right? She passed out. She woke up and she said he was inside of her. And even though she was drunk, that's still classified as rape 3. And she's past the statute of limitation, so they don't have enough to actually arrest Burton. So why? Liv needs to talk to Burton about all of this because at the time, he was 50 and she was 20. Amanda then talks to Liv about how this girl was taken when Burton, with Burton due to all of that. He was sweet talking her. He was giving her music. She thought he was exotic and older, so she was taken by him. Well, when Olivia goes home, she gets some wine and she starts to drink. She pulls out this box of her old stuff and she finds the tape that Burton made her when she was 15 years old. Really? So she starts to piece it together. The girl from Ipanema was playing on the tape he gave her. She herself was a victim way back then, and it looks like her mom was really trying to protect her. So 8 or 9 women come forward. Nick feels like he put Liv in a bad situation, bringing Burton back in her life, and he's so sorry that he walked him back in her life, he says. Now, she was 15 and he was 21. Then he was a predator. So Amaro tries to talk to her about it, but she goes off on him and basically tells him, mind your own business. I've been doing this a long time. I think I would know if I was a victim. So he moves on. So how did it end? Well, we get another flashback about her mom and how they fought while her mom was drunk. About this particular incident, her mom broke a bottle and then went after her with a piece of the bottle. Her mom was an alcoholic. So Liv goes to Burton's hotel that night and she starts to talk to him. He's clearly upset that he's about to be canceled in the cancel culture. Now, they believe that the women are credible and Andrea's story has now gone viral. So they can't charge him, though. The statute of limitations is up. But she lets him know that there are other women that are coming forward, too, because he's not being charged, but the allegations are there. She explains to him that he's a powerful and successful man, and he abused their trust. He abused her trust. He basically sexually assaulted a 15-year-old girl. Now, the power differential was there, but he didn't see it. He wants Olivia to defend him, to stand up for him. She can't, and she won't. He took advantage of her life, being messed up then. He knew that she wanted to get out of a bad situation, and he used all of that to get to Olivia. Now she's trying to get some type of closure, get her composure, an acknowledgement of some kind that she was young and that he took advantage of her. But he won't give her that. She tells him goodbye, she leaves, and then she hears him throw something against the wall that shatters. Well, when Olivia leaves, she has a final flashback to her mom. She gets it now. It's in her mind. She was messed up, and her mom really was trying to protect her. Serena was trying to protect her that whole time. Well, then she calls Nick Amaro, and she apologizes to him in a voicemail message, telling him that he was right and that Burton was a predator. She then takes the tape that he gave her and she throws it in the river. Good for you, Olivia. Now, this episode was so deep Maybe she became a detective due to her circumstances and her life choices and the non-ability to have those life choices. How did you guys feel about this episode? I mean, it was jam-packed. There were 2 cases actually solved in this episode. Was Olivia a victim? Do you think Burton was a predator? Now, Olivia's been through the ringer this year, and I wonder, did she sleep with him just to get over Elliot? Is that actually going to happen eventually, Elliot and Olivia? I mean, I really would like to know. Quit playing with me. What do you guys think? If you like me bringing this type of content to you from SVU and Law and Organized Crime, I would love it if you would subscribe. Go ahead and give me a like, a big thumbs up, and hit that notification bell so you'll know when I'm coming back to you. I would love that. I love you guys, and I want you guys to know to Law and Order on. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.